Alright, so the idea, well, not the idea, the first thing you have to do is depressurize the fuel system. So what we're going to do is look at here on the engine, this is a 2000, so it's on the right side, driver's side. This is the fuse box, and you see here's EFI. So take this off, we'll identify the EFI here. This one is the EFI 15 amp. So you can see it's kind of laid out the way it is underneath this. So here is our 15 amp for the electronic fuel ignition. So we'll start the car, then we'll pull this one out, and then it should stop the fuel pump, and then when the car stops, it will have drained the fuel rail of the pressure. Alright, now with the 15 amp fuse out for the EFI, we're going to just cover this back up, keep it clean. We'll disconnect the negative on the battery terminal. Then we will take this cover off here and then take a look at the rail. I have a little inspection going on here of my work so far. Yes, okay. Battery terminal is off, fuse is out. Is that the cover that comes off next? Is that what you're saying? Okay. You'll have to get off of it. Thank you. Okay, the plastic cover is off. The next thing, we're going to pinch this off, pull this hose off. The next thing on this 2000 Corolla is, this is the throttle cable, and so this bolt has to come off here to move this out of the way, so then we can be able to lift the fuel rail. That's loose. I'm not sure how much that's going to give us actually, because it goes underneath and over here, and there's a clip here. So we're going to remove the connectors now. To each of the injectors. Then we'll take these two bolts off and see if we can move that fuel rail up in order to get to cylinder 1 fuel injector. Alright, I'll loosen these two bolts holding the frame rail on. I used a 1/2 inch, but I suspect it's a 12 millimeter. But they weren't on so tight that I couldn't get them off. So since I'm only going to be changing out this one for the first, I'm not going to struggle with getting it all the way out there. I'm just going to get it to where I can take this one off, then put it back in. Here's the replacement part that I received. So we're going to, before we put this replacement in, we're going to put a little motor oil around this seal here. Make sure that sits nice. One of the tricks, it seems like when getting this rail back on, is this part here It's going to go down into a little seal. So you have to kind of get them all lined up and then press the rail down, and then these will go into the seal to the top of the cylinder where the fuel goes in. Once you know it's right, it'll line up real nice for these holes, and everything will be nice and straight all the way around. We'll tighten this back down, the rail back down, hook up the connectors again, hook this back up, put the fuse back in, battery, start her up, see how it goes. Okay, all the connectors back on. Let's put this back in place. I think that was 10 millimeter. And that bracket is back on. Got that back. Okay. I've already put the fuse back on. So now let's just put this battery connector back on. Alright, it started back up. We want to look for fuel leaks. Looking underneath the car, I don't see anything. I'm not sure if that's running smoother than it was before. Started right up though. So we'll take a look inside at the gauges, on the torque light. See if we see any difference, see if it's made any kind of difference. Okay, so now this is after the car has been running for a little while, maybe 5 minutes. Coolant temperature looks normal. So I'm looking at this bounce here between -10 and +11 on the fuel trim. O2 looks like it's working fine. This is the, I can't remember what that ST is, but it's another fuel trim indicator. So I think we'll have to, now it's just sitting, it was sitting right at 0. I'll have to do a little more research about what this fuel trim is. You know, should it be 0? Should it be between a couple of different settings? You know, what to look out for. I've reset the codes, so we're going to find out if we took care of the misfire in cylinder 1. So that's going to do it for another episode of Average Guy's Garage. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.